But all right, so having a bit of a look at GU to start with. Obviously, we're at the bottom of a bearish leg, getting a consolidation, mitigating not a bad point, but fair chance the momentum does start to outweigh it, given now we've got bigger bullish two leg and a bigger break to the downside on the 4 hour. Um, More or less completing the structure cycle. So expecting now for us to be able to get that bit of a sell off from here. We are mitigating this point, of course, which has had an inducement into the mitigation of, and it is, a valid demand area. So we'd expect it to give a bit of a reaction. There is chance that it does push us up higher, as obviously we are deep inside of that bearish leg that we've got there. Just delete that. Obviously deep inside of that leg, at the very, very bottom. So we can for sure come up higher. So coming into the week, I'm open to both scenarios. One, if this area down here, that 4 hour area, is going to be a bit of a smart money point, I'd expect it to do more than what it's done right now. And we have just had that inducement low break high. So coming into the week, I would expect us to come up a little bit higher. We are mitigating, obviously, the decisional of that point there. So we'll see what that wants to do. That break to the downside there now, and we're inducing our decisional. We have just mitigated our extremes. So two options here. If we're going to sell from exactly where we are right now, exactly where we are, or we're going to come up a little bit higher and give that bigger two leg. If we come up a little bit higher, we'll induce that for sure. Potentially come into that area. Doesn't hold too much weight. We've got a lot of liquidity sitting up there. If we push through here, I'm not going to be surprised if we do have actually a reasonable retracement. We're quite due for it, and potentially come up to that extreme area there. This is obviously also a retest of that, and that's a really good supply. So look, we've got potential to come up all the way up to that point there. Yeah, if this is, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that over the next week. Wouldn't be surprised. Because then we're what? This is the last week of November. That'll put us to December. And we may find that we start to trickle off back down out of here, coming into the new year, and give us, which I wouldn't be surprised to see, a new external leg coming into the new year. There's a very fair chance of that. But yeah, very fair chance we push through and come up to that area on GU. So, potential for both sides. The market's very bearish. It's like I said, if we're going to sell, we're going to sell from here. If we push through here, we're probably coming up to there. Same sort of thing on EU. So EU's inside of this area. Maybe even, yeah, it's filled all that imbalance. So we're inside there, which goes against, excuse me, goes against structure cycle. Still getting balance to fill down underneath. So obviously it makes sense to still sell, but we're not even in that area yet. There's no reason to push us back up. This area definitely can give us a bit of a whack. So we might find that we get that little bit of a sell-off on EU, which makes sense with that structure cycle, the mitigation of the decisional, which very well could have GU push down a little bit. EU mitigate. This area being the extreme of that, definitely should give us a pretty strong push, which would make sense for GU to drive up to take that as EU starts to push its way up. So yeah, not going to be surprised to see that. But on EU, obviously we're at the extreme of this area. Couldn't expect that area to give us a bit of a reaction. We've only just mitigated it. We should at least see price push up and take that, and then start to get that sell off, targeting that, just following with that structure cycle. This point really should not hold for very long. Doesn't make a lot of sense to. Context of it though, on the 15 minute, that point swept. It's probably an hourly point up there. Yep. Get that point, we can come and mitigate. Good retest into the mitigation of it. At this point, though, I would expect bloody hell, to have a bit of strength behind it. So although this is valid and we can induce the retest, mitigate this and sell off, which given how bearish we are, I wouldn't be surprised to see. But I'd be more so less surprised if we push through it and swept that. Because that's going to be a really, really good bullish break, and it's going to bring in heaps of buyers from this area. That'll put us in a really good position to sell, given it's going to be an external break. So yeah, if we can come up, sweep that, I'm not going to be surprised. More or less expecting that, to be honest. After looking at it coming into the week, sweep that, looking for sells, come down, target all these buyers, sweep that. That'll be a major inducement. Won't be looking to buy straight off the back of it, depending on context. If we come up and we work our way down like this and get something like that, be open to buying from there. And then yeah, this area down here, like I said, should give us a bit of a push. So it'll be more so selling to complete the structure cycle into potential setup of new structure for buyers coming into the week. As that's I wouldn't expect us to sell straight through that without doing anything. Yeah, this point should give us a pretty decent whack. It's the extreme of that 4 hour, even daily leg. We've got all this liquidity up here. So you can see it's been quite a slow retracement. So we'll see what that wants to do coming into the week. But yeah, sales looking good and need to start.